Okay, so we're back here again, Romford Short Film Festival. So we've just had some films from North Macedonia, Kyrgyzstan, Brazil, Netherlands, Italy, and Nepal. But ironically, the only person that's here to represent their film is Chris, who could not be closer because he actually works here.
Yes.
Just for openness, yeah, Chris does work here, and I'm going to talk to you like I've never met you before.
Okay, I've met you, Peter.
But I've never met your guest here. So let's just do some introductions. So, and the name of the film and your role.
Okay, so the name of the film is It Was Fun to Stay at the YMCA. My name is Chris Harvey.
My name's Paul Atherton. I was the last member to join the YMCA before the shutters closed.
Tell them how many weeks by.
About 6, I think it was, wasn't it? 6 or 8.
So it is briefly touched upon in the documentary, but just remind us when you first sort of became aware, or how you became aware of the closure.
Well, Paul is an absolutely amazing guy because what he does is he regularly puts out emails saying about what venues are actually sort of closing.
Okay.
And I had no idea that the YMCA was closing, and so it was his email that was really instrumental in me finding out about it. So I said, do you want to meet on that day? So we met in the afternoon, and I thought I'll just do some general atmospheric sort of photos outside. And then Paul said, oh, well, it closes at 8:30, and I thought, I'll come back, hang around. So we had a nice time in the West End for a bit, and then we went to the closure, and it just, and again, I thought I was only going to be there for a few minutes, but it just became sort of, as you can see, that battle that sort of lasted for about 45 minutes in total, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was really interesting. I think that it was that perfect moment of London where people wanted to challenge and stand and cause problems, but they knew the staff.
Right.
And it was that horrible moment of going, we want to hold on, we want to battle down the sort of keep battling until the bitter end. But the staff were like, we've got to leave, we'll get into trouble. And so what you see there is that sort of moment of going, we want to make a mark, but at the same time we want to respect the staff and leave the building.
Sure. Yeah, so a difficult balance, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So you mentioned that you look into these kind of things quite a lot, these places that are closing. It's a passion of yours, is it?
I'd hate to use the word passion, but it's a concern. It started with Borough Market actually all the way back in 2000.
Oh, okay.
And when the London Bridge extension was going to happen there, I became part of the campaign group to try and save that. I've locked myself inside the Kensington Odeon to try and save that, and failed. But we've had a couple of wins. Obviously, the Prince Charles Cinema has just been saved. So this is we've seen a witness of the Whitechapel Bell Foundry go, which is the oldest bell foundry. Arthur Beale's Chandlers went during lockdown. That store had been on that site for 860 years trading. So it's kind of one of those things that I think Londoners need to remind themselves that a lot of the things that exist, like Covent Garden, like St Pancras Station, were saved by individuals, not by organisations.
Yeah, as you say, you touch upon it in the documentary. I was actually thinking of Prince Charles before it even got mentioned in the documentary. There's lots of places like this now, aren't there, that are always constantly, it feels like, in danger of being closed and repurposed, usually into hotels and stuff like that. Is it greed? Is it just greed?
Yeah. Unequivocally. I mean, this guy's a billionaire. There's absolutely no reason to be. And Aziz is known for doing community building, so he's taken lots and lots of community pubs, and he's had a go at the Prince Charles Cinema, and he's gone for the YMCA. Right. So it's not like, oh, here's another commercial building, I'll knock that down and build another commercial building. It's like, oh, here's a community interest thing, so I can get it cheap, and then I can turn it into something that I can generate lots of money from. Yeah. So unequivocal greed.
Yeah. So, Chris, was there any people you interviewed that you couldn't fit into the final cut?
Well, basically, a lot of those interviews that were done by another member of the YMCA.
Okay.
So, but they gave me, so I had to write in to get permission. I was
Right.
given full authorization, but there was a lot of interviews
Mhm.
that I had to pull. There was about, I think, about 17 or 18 in total,
Okay.
and I really had to pare it down to the most emotive ones. But even those ones that didn't make the cut,
Mm.
the upset was there.
Yeah.
You know, their hearts were broken in
Yeah.
each and every one, and it was painful to lose them. It was like one of those really painful things, because you realised to enter it had to be under 30 minutes and stuff had to be
Right.
lost, and so yeah, unfortunately, I did have to lose some of those small interviews.
Were they all people that were sort of in the vicinity, or did sort of word of mouth get around and you sort of got them in?
Also, all those interviews were actually sort of obviously members of the YMCA, and so the person who did it had just been getting them as they were coming out, because they couldn't do it on site, so they had to do it off site.
Were any of the staff interviewed?
That I don't know.
Okay. Did they attempt to, do you know? Or did...
I would imagine it would probably cause them a bit of
Yeah.
sort of trouble. So, but again, you could see that. I mean, with Des, like,
Des was amazing.
his hands were like tied. You know, that was a guy that didn't want to lose that place. You know, he quite clearly loved that place. He quite clearly loved everyone there.
Yeah.
And they loved him.
Yeah, you could see you could see it in their eyes, but alas, he had to toe the line.
Mm.
What's the progress with the campaign as of today?
We, the hope is, because the Prince Charles Cinema has been saved, that they're likely to win a community interest judgment, but it's going to be slow and arduous as it is. I don't even think they've started work of their development there yet.
Not as far as I know.
So they shuttered it, and they were going to drag everything out almost instantaneously, and that seems to have been halted.
Yeah.
But the mechanics of this now are long drawn out legal processes, and it's going to be one of those waiting games, I suspect, because unlike the Prince Charles Cinema, which was saved before anything happened to it, this has now been shuttered, and the battles are going to be between the lawyers on both sides, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many signatures the Prince Charles thing got in the end. It was in the, well, I don't know how many it was. It was tens of thousands of signatures, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was nice to see, especially, you know, as film lovers all here as well. But ultimately, I guess, you know, these things will probably come back round again, and you'll have to be prepared again to battle to save these things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we got the Genesis, now Tyrone over at the Genesis Cinema. Now Tyrone saved the Genesis Cinema 25 years ago. And there's been nothing but keeping it as a community cinema, but they've literally been priced out. COVID completely hit them, and now they're having to look at redeveloping in student accommodation to keep the cinema going, but they're going to lose what sits there and makes it what it is. So yeah, I think basically London needs to sort of completely readdress how it behaves and looks at money and things, and goes, right, this is actually more important. The local authority should step in, they should get tax rebates and a whole bundle of things to allow them to continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah. For you, Kristen, it was either your last documentary or one of the last ones it was the one that was set on the day the Queen died.
Oh yes, yeah.
What is it about sort of being there at these kind of events and things that you enjoy? Is that the right word? That you find interesting?
I think for me, these bits are sort of history that I'm covering.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you think of how long that YMCA had been there, and I was there on the very last day, like, obviously wasn't there on the start, like 108 years ago, but to me it's so important to capture these moments, because those moments will never come again.
And are there any documentarians that you admire over cinema?
Oh, good question. I mean, there's a lot of people that do very good documentaries on YouTube that I really like, but can't think of one.
I like Errol Morris.
Yeah.
I like Errol Morris. He's a great filmmaker. He made like The Fog of War and Thin Blue Line.
Yeah, Ken Burns.
Okay, Ken Burns. His
Yes, I
Vietnam
couldn't remember the
Vietnam
name.
series
Couldn't
was
remember
amazing.
the name.
Yeah, that Vietnam series was incredible that he did. Is there any audience questions at this point? Probably. Oh yeah, give us a shout. Just behind you, Sean.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chris, Paul,
Hi.
and my name's Lee. I'm a filmmaker, and I was also involved in a tiny little bit on the Prince Charles campaign, which you've drawn comparisons with, and I think Peter, I think the final total on the petition was over 160,000. They were aiming for 200, but that was still very good.
Yeah.
Just a couple of observations, if I may. Firstly, excellent film, Chris.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. Very well done. Very emotional. It must have been very tough in the editing room, I can imagine. Trying to decide, of all those very emotive, heartfelt pleas, which ones were going to make the final cut. Couldn't have been easy. But with the Prince Charles, what they did very, very well was to get sponsors and to try and make it a kind of a London campaign. So there were things like, little badges, I love peace, I love PC. They had people like Edgar Wright and Paul Thomas Anderson, a lot of famous filmmakers, do little monologues to camera as to what this meant to them. And that cinema was very popular. People like Christopher Nolan as well. When he was a young filmmaker, he'd go there. And I can see things that you can still do, even though maybe your timeline is much more compressed compared to how long they had. And they had a very busy schedule, and they deliberately, as Paul will know, they very deliberately packed their calendar with so many things. So just a few months ago, they had Ray Fiennes. I was there, and Ray Fiennes, who was up for an Oscar for Conclave. They did a talk with him, and they had lots of events to make it look as though Criterion Capital would have to be absolute monsters to try and bring that sort of communal celebration of art and cinema to an end. I think that's something you could maybe look at as well in terms of getting not just the members who've used it, but maybe past members and maybe people who are just fond of London's history to do these little vox pops to camera, maybe film them yourself, Chris, or maybe put them on YouTube some other way, do a website and maybe do a similar petition. And it's ironic that it's the same guy again. And it's the Zedwell hotels, which, I don't know if I'm being too aggressive by saying this, but they are really lousy hotels.
Yes.
And the Zedwell...
They're not sponsoring us.
We lost our funding. But, the Zedwell hotel group, they don't even have TVs in the room. The idea behind the Zedwells is that travellers just come in and they go to sleep and then wake up and they check out. It's not even a hotel experience. And the Zedwell has been driven by jealousy over the very successful Z Hotel Group, who've got a lot of hotels around Leicester Square. They've just opened another one right next to National Portrait Gallery. And I've talked to the management of the Z Hotels, and they are supporters of Prince Charles as well. And I said, that you guys, your success has driven this guy almost bonkers, and he's trying to rival you. So he's now trying to take the famous landmark. If you can do some sort of connection with them, and they were all for it, and they were ready for Prince Charles to come and for them to do some promotions in the Z Hotel lobbies all around the West End and say that we are supporting Prince Charles. So there's another idea there.
That is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wasn't aware of that.
That would really be one in the eye for him, really. And of course, if they got sponsorship as well.
Absolutely. And the thing about the Z Hotels, I've stayed at them a lot. They have a very cool artistic background. They have a lot of film companies stay with them for things like the red carpets around Leicester Square. So they are very pro-cinema, which is a good thing. And just on that point, I was just wondering, Chris, even though the premise of the documentary was that they'd already decided, the trustees had decided very, sneakily and very criminally, if you like, that they were going to shut it down with no consultation. Did you reach out at all during the making of the film to the Criterion Group or to the trustees to maybe try and do a response on camera and just address that perspective?
Okay, so when I heard about the YMCA closing down, I did try and ask to have permission to sort of film there on the very last day. So that was my first sort of contact with them, and they absolutely said sort of no, but they said, oh, come to one of our other locations, and that was really the only contact I had, and it was quite clear that they just wanted to wash their hands of the place, and you can tell by all the people's reactions that they didn't really have any faith in those trustees, because those trustees just sold them down the river, basically. You know, I mean, what is a trustee? A trustee should be protecting a place. It shouldn't be selling it off for a dime.
Well, and as we mentioned earlier, before this started, many of the members were told, oh, you can go to the other site, and you can use the other site, which closed, 6 weeks later?
Yeah. Oh, no, a couple of months later.
Couple of months later.
It was, again, disgraceful that you've been moved on, and then it's like, where are you going to go now?
Yeah. So, I mean, the YMCA trustees should have been the people that were protecting the building. They should have been driving and alerting people as soon as they were aware of it. But, this was, as one of the subjects in the documentary, it felt criminal. It felt like a backhander somewhere down the line. So allegedly, I suspect I have to use the allegedly, yes. But yeah, it was very, 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 very strange, and I've never quite heard anything quite as underhand as this for what is in essence a charity.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, this question just... Well, we'll just get the microphone to you. 1 sec.
Sorry, hello. Was there any TV coverage of it as like a world first for the YMCA? You would have thought that because it was closing, there would have been some, on the news at 6 o'clock, YMCA first ever one in the world closes.
Okay, so I can sort of tell you what happened there. So early on in the day, I think there had been a few film crews just getting sort of general outside views of it, but I was the only one to really be there at the end. To me, that surprised me, because I was thinking, well, surely there should have been BBC London. There should have been a whole host of other reporters, because they knew that was the last day. They knew the time of day that place was going to shut. And I was looking around all the time going, is anyone going to turn up? And so actually some of my footage did get used on the on the Mail Online the next day, because I'd sent in some of the videos, and that became the story. But
which was picked up by Yahoo News as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
So Chris's footage is the only footage that existed out there, and I don't know why BBC London didn't turn up. It is a definite BBC London story. They should have been first. They were aware of it. One of their journalists I got in touch with that day, but for whatever reason, I don't think they thought it was a story, which was a great shame. You do.
Exactly, and it's a shame, because you think like the BBC are so close to that building, like they're literally just a couple of blocks away, and they could have easily sent someone out. They could have been there. They could be back in the studio in 5 minutes, but they just didn't. So to me, I was constantly going, is anyone going to be here? Am I the only one? And yes. You can see it was just pouring down with rain. Maybe the rain just kept them away, but then again, what a poor excuse.
Weird question. That wasn't Phil Davis in the background of one of the shots, was it? Because there's a guy who really looked like Phil Davis, the actor.
Is
him?
the
There's a guy with white hair?
Yeah. No, that was a guy called Frank.
Oh,
so
okay.
we did do an interview with him.
Oh, it's the same guy, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Really looks... Yeah, go for it.
Bravo, Chris, and
Thank you.
Brilliant. And because you've documented it, obviously, yeah, it's really getting everyone to go up. I know it is, and if this was a full auditorium, I think people would be screaming, shouting, and throwing cans about. I mean, it really is, a poor state of affairs when such an important building, has gone the way it's gone. But it is not, hopefully, the end of the story yet. And because you have documented it, even though the BBC and anyone else never was there on that last night, because you have documented it, is it not still possible, even if it's a watered down, important, edited, in-your-face version, short and sweet, to be sent to something like Panorama for further investigation? Could they reopen it? Could that get it a bit more national broadcasting? Could that rejuvenate the cause and behind it, and get a bit of impetus behind it a bit again? Well, because you've done it, you've recorded it, you have it, it's there.
I mean,
bravo, by the way, on doing it.
Thank you. I mean, that is actually a sort of great idea. So my aim was, once I had it screened at the festival, was going to give it to the Save Our YMCA.
Yeah.
To actually help them use that as sort of promotion. So I was going to give it to them, they could chop it up into as many bits as they liked. And that's what I thought I would do, but actually that is a fantastic idea, sort of getting something like Panorama.
Well, Panorama could use some good news at the moment, right?
Exactly, yeah. No, but thanks for that.
Anybody else? No? So last question from me. What's your next film, Chris?
Oh, good question. So I've got 2 in the pipeline at the moment. One where I accidentally took charge of the zombie walk, which I'm going to ideally submit for the Romford Horror Festival, so I've still got sort of
It's in February, by the way.
Yes, get that. And I'm also sort of editing my weird David Lieberhardt.
Is that the recluse guy?
Now, this is the guy who basically had a program called the Junior Christian Bible Science Lesson, where he would teach the Bible with creepy puppets. He's an absolutely amazing, unique individual. I've never known anyone quite like him. He used to be the flatmate of Robin Williams. He is nuts, absolutely nuts. And that's what made him such a beautiful subject, because he's so pure of heart, but so weird at the same time, and that's why I thought he'd be a great subject.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Congratulations on the film, and yeah, I hope it can help maybe with the campaign and
keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
as I say, everybody that hears about it, if they write their campaign, eventually, as we've seen with the Prince Charles Cinema, there is a potential chance of bringing back to life one of our greatest assets.
And is there a website? I think it did flash up.
It did flash up on it. Please don't ask me to remember.
Yeah. Okay, fine. All right, we'll Google it. Google it. That's fine.
Save our YMCA, you'll find it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you have a round of applause, please? Thank you.